Jeff Scott was seen at a Clemson practice. Jeff Scott stopped by at a Clemson practice. Jeff Scott seen working with so-and-so. Jeff Scott was whispering in someone's ear at a Clemson practice. Jeff Scott actually stopped out in the middle of the practice, ran across the field into the field house, had to take a dump. Seen at a practice. Jeff Scott is not coaching at Clemson. Let it go. And welcome to the show. I'm Brian. I'm glad you're here. It's been a whacked out week for me. I might talk about that later, but who cares? I'm glad you're here. We're getting close to college football, Clemson football, most importantly, less than 4 weeks away. In fact, so today is Thursday, August the 8th. So in about, 16 days, college football actually kicks off. It's week 0, a bunch of games most people don't care about other than Florida State and Georgia Tech. So we're getting there. We're almost there. But I'm going to talk about Jeff Scott in a second. I hope you do subscribe. It's free. Did I mention that it's free? I don't know if you heard, but it is free and it's the easiest way to support the channel. I'm glad you're here. Let's talk about it. So, the Clemson Insider actually posted this maybe yesterday. Posted an article yesterday by Jason Priester. I know Jason. It's been a while since I talked to him. We've been on a couple of shows together, including Mark Rogers. And you know me, I really don't read a lot of articles on Clemson football. And one of the reasons that I don't is because it's kind of like right now, we're just like naming out depth charts. Like, so-and-so, he's about 6'1", 220 pounds. He's lost a little weight. And then we just talk about it. And hey, I'm guilty of it too. Where it's the off season, we're dying for, college football. But when I saw the title of this, I was like, I have to click. Jason got me. Jason, you got me, my friend. I clicked in, and it says Sweeney gives latest on Jeff Scott. And even though in my heart of hearts, I knew what I was about to read, Jason Priester, you got me, my friend. It's been a while. I hope you're doing well. Jason is really good at what he does. But basically he says, hey, look, he moved back to Clemson after the whole USF debacle. And I can't blame Jeff for that. That was his first major head coaching job. And some people's even taking shots at him for that. At least he tried, But Jeff Scott is highly respected in the Clemson community, and we know why, because when he was there, Clemson won a national championship in 16 and 18. And everybody likes to, in a very snarky way, point out, well, Jeff wasn't calling plays. Yeah, isn't it funny how when Jeff left and Tony was left by himself, it didn't look the greatest, but you still had Lawrence, Etienne, and Higgins or whoever the wide receivers was at the time. I can't. I mean, it's hard to remember that last team who was on it after Etienne and Trevor Lawrence, because we're getting that far away from it. But we saw what it looked like. They went in and played Ohio State. Ohio State finally beat Clemson, and they didn't only beat them, emasculated them. I mean, it just looked bad. I think Tony didn't get to call that game because he had the sickness of 2020 at the time. So, I'm going to give him a break. But the offense, if you paid attention to it, just didn't look wonderful. All right, we'll leave it at that. But everybody knows that Jeff Scott is highly regarded in Clemson. I rambled a little too much there, and I'm not taking shots at Tony. I'm just saying I think he's a good coach. I think that those two together were really good together. That's what I'm trying to say. So anyway, Jeff moves back. Everybody thinks he's going to coach at Clemson. Well, he didn't. And we keep asking, is he going to come back? And you know the reason why. Because we think of 16 and 18. There we go. Bada bing. And here's the problem. Jason points this out. Dabo says, he's 2 doors down from me, referring to how close they live to one another. He loves what he's doing and having a ball. Anyone looking to build a house on Lake Kiowee, call Jeff Scott. He is your man. Now, I went and I looked at his company, checked it out. They're building extremely expensive homes. Now, of course, Jeff Scott is not, that I know of, Jeff Scott's not out there cutting your 2x4s. You're not going to walk down there and see Jeff Scott laboring. You know, he might pick up something here and there when he stops by. I'm not making fun of the guy. I'm not. In fact, I wish Jeff Scott were back in some capacity. I really think he has a lot of value he could help other than giving us a nostalgic figure. I think he could really help, but that's neither here nor there. But you're not going to see Jeff Scott out there putting shingles on your home. In fact, the vast majority of us cannot afford a shed to be built by his company because they're doing extremely custom work. And so, you know, he's kind of the face of the project. And everybody knows Jeff Scott in the area. And I went and looked on their website. It's very, very nice. A very, very nice home that they're displaying. It's very, very nice. It's on Lake Kiowee. If you know anything about Lake Kiowee, I mean, many, many years ago, I mean, half-acre lot, according to where it's at, could be $750,000. It's according to where it's at, but still, you know, Lake Kiowee is expensive. But he's building homes. He is Bob the Builder now. He is not Jeff Scott, the football coach, anymore. At least for right now. Coach Sweeney says, hey, he's doing great. He's coaching his kids. He's got a lot going on. You know, he was at practice the other day. Okay, great. He was at practice the other day. Jeff Scott is not coming back to Clemson unless something very special happens. Unless something happens with Jeff where he is like, I just want to be back at Clemson. And let me tell you, if we are creating roles, paid and unpaid, at Clemson University for anybody, I will more than sign off, encourage, implore, beg, encourage Dabo Swinney to create any position for Jeff Scott. Because Jeff Scott can coach. Or didn't do good at USF. Who is USF? I know they had a few good teams here and there, but it's not like he went and messed up LSU or something. It's not like he went to Alabama and laid a golden turd. It's not like he took over, I don't know, Florida and made them look awful. He took over USF. Except for a few good teams here and there, USF isn't. I'm not knocking you, USF. I've enjoyed watching you have a few good years here and there. I've pulled for you, thought that, and I'm saying I say that loosely, not like I was some big fan. But it's not like he went down there and just messed up some great legacy college football team. So stop acting like that. But the guy can coach. The guy can coach. And all I know is when he was involved in the offense at Clemson University, we looked good. Well, what about the players? Yeah, exactly right. The wide receivers that were 4 and 5 stars didn't drop off, did they? Riddle me that, Batman. We have half our wide receivers stay in a wheelchair now. What is the problem with that? We have wide receivers who spends more time either in the injury tent or not dressed out in pads, stand on the sideline. They got their jersey on, but they're not dressed out to play because they can't play. Because they're hobbling in there like Tiny Tim. What's going on there? Adam Randall was what, a 5-star? Stellato, he was what, a 4-star coming out of South Florida? We've had other guys who's been really good, high recruited wide receivers. Everybody else was recruiting them. Who's came in since Jeff Scott's been gone. They didn't do good. But while he was there, well, it was the quarterback. It's not all the quarterback, folks. The wide receiver has to go up and get the ball. That infamous play against Texas A&M where Trevor Lawrence throws the ball up to T. Higgins. Yes, the pass was perfectly timed, but you got to remember the other part of that transaction. T. Higgins had to go up and get it. And right now, and I'll back off of right now because the season's going to start in a few weeks. They're having practice. People are getting hopefully healthy and hopefully better and all this bunch of good junk. And we have the 2 freshman wide receivers that we're expecting them to change everything. I'm going to give them a pass. Okay? But up to this point, you could have had Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball to them. And you know what they would have done? The ball fall out of their hands. That's what would have happened. And if you go, could you have done better? No, I'm not a D1 football player on full scholarship. Didn't claim to be. Didn't. I say this all the time. I'm not a chef, but if I go down here to Hall's Chop House in downtown Greenville, and me and my wife go in there to eat, and I'm paying $300 for a meal, I don't have to be a chef to realize whether that steak tastes great or like trash. And the last time our wide receivers were across the board consistently dominant, Jeff Scott was running things. I mean, now, when we recruit in wide receivers, they're now I don't know if y'all have heard about this, they're actually giving them handicap parking passes. Go ahead and got their face on it so we can, let everybody know that they're not cheating the system. It's like, wow, you look perfectly healthy right now. Why do you have your own handicap parking pass? Oh, you're a wide receiver at Clemson. Yeah, you know something's going to happen. And I know someone's going to come in here and say, well, that's not on Grisham. Okay, maybe it's not on Grisham, but I'm telling you, pay attention. Our wide receivers, if they start to get in a rhythm, they get hurt. They were getting out of the car at practice the other day and stood up like they've been standing since they were a little baby. Since they finally gained the strength in their lower bodies to stand vertically and do that shaking thing. And everybody, if you've had children, you know what I'm talking about. They're like, you're proud that they're like standing and everything. They've been standing since then, but ever since they signed at Clemson, they pulled up down at the Fuddruckers in Anderson and got out and all. Oh, my neck. You know it's true. It's great to see everybody in here. Great to see you. There's 50 of you in here. I hope you have subscribed. It is free. I want you to notice down here below my name, I had it for a while, not a journalist. And then today, just because I feel like jumping off of a cliff because of the terrible week I've had, I said, you know what? I need to stop being lazy. I am changing I'm changing it to not an insider. Folks, I just want to let you know, I'm not a journalist. I'm not an insider. I'm not down. Also, and I just talked about Jason. I hadn't talked to Jason in a while, but Jason Priester is fantastic what he does. I am not singling him out whatsoever. He is fantastic. So, Jason, you see this? I'm not talking about you. But I will tell you, I'm glad I'm not an insider, because what happens sometimes is when you get down on the field and you have to be at the practices, and then you get to know the coaches, you get to know the players, you feel bad having to tell the truth about them. Now, I'm not saying that Jason does do that. Once again, this is not directed at Jason. This is directed at anybody basically who has a sideline pass, who are afraid to write certain things and say certain things. And Jason, again, I'm not talking about Jason. But my point in saying this is I'm not an insider, and thank God for it. I don't have to feel like I'm hurting someone's feelings if I tell the truth. So I am not an insider. I'm not a journalist. I'm some dude in his bonus room talking about the team he's been pulling for since he can remember. So I did change that. I hope you will subscribe. I'm going to get in here, say hello to a few people. Silver Fox, Scott would have been an asset if he was coaching some, but I think the Tigers have the pieces of the puzzle they have been missing on the offensive side of the ball. Silver Fox, I hope so. I hope so. I will tell you, as that offensive line gets better, if other things don't get better, and I'm naming out quarterback and wide receivers over the next year or two, don't be shocked if some more changes are made. Because you can only use the offensive line is not good for as long as the offensive line is not good. And when you have Matt Luke in the house, Matt Luke is going to make things good. We all know this. I appreciate your comment. Grafnarm, Charleston, South Carolina. Dude, it's been a while. It is good to see you, my friend. Grafnar, he's a member of the channel. You see that little symbol right there right there? Yeah. That means he is a member of, he's not only a subscriber, he's a member of the channel and pays $3 or $5 per month. So thank you for your support. Yes, Jeff Scott did recruit well. He recruited Florida very well. Sheffley 21, how did he learn how to build custom homes so fast? Robert Ellen, good afternoon, I like Scott. Halo, Grafnar, I am back, LOL. This is great. Oh, look at my friend. Look at that Parker Henderson. I texted your brother today. I texted your brother yesterday because I've talked to him since I've talked to you. So Parker and his brother are they're supporters, longtime friends of Bobby Durkins, not Bobby Durkins, Clemson Football Live, whatever I might rename this channel anytime soon, and most importantly me. So it's good to see you. He and his brother are members as well. It's good to see you, my friend. Grafnar, I hope you're telling the truth that he can score 2 touchdowns at one time. I hope. Truett Graves, Tyler Grisham is what is wrong with the receivers, period. Truett Graves, that reminds me of when Michael Scott said Toby Flenderson is what's wrong with the paper industry. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. You know what? Random office clip. Here we go.
You're going to HELL double hockey sticks. Going to hell, Stanley.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Here's another one for you.
Chickens are coming home to roost, Bobby Boucher. You reap the fruit of your selfish way.
I just can't get enough. And okay, you got to do 3. If you do 2, you got to do 3. Going way back to when you can't even do this now, but Dana Carvey was the best.
What? Well, that's insane!
I love it. 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 Angie Ledbetter is in here. Hey, Brian, finally catching you live. She's my trash talking Georgia friend. She's definitely a trash talking Georgia friend. I'm glad you're in here. I was on a plane yesterday. I flew down to Dallas yesterday to meet a client. I flew back from Dallas yesterday. So I did that yesterday. It was interesting. And a lady sitting in front of me on the flight back told me not only she was a Georgia fan, but she actually went to high school with Bill Elliott and had some great stories, showed me pictures. It was wonderful. Yeah, the Georgia Bulldog. She was a dog, definitely. She was great. She was funny. Angie, it's good to see you in here. Let me see. Who else am I missing? I'm missing people in here. I am so sorry. Y'all forgive me. Not Bobby D. Are you closer to being an insider or a journalist? What about a journsider? That's a very good one. Dean Wilson says, you sure like to judge, though. They all get a pass for now. All in, go Tigers. I sure do. Hey, listen, these coaches are paid so much money, and we all get so bothered about the players being paid. And there's a part of me that I don't like it to a point, because you remember I've shared with you, and a lot of people don't care. I mean, I had to pay for both of my degrees I got. I paid for them. And, you know, the whole thing, they really don't care about the degrees, special treatment and everything. And you know, okay. I get it when these players are paid, and there's a part of me that doesn't have a problem with it. There's part of me that does, because of what I just stated. I'm going to stop rambling. My point is, these coaches are paid a lot of money. I'm talking about as a whole. Major college football, they're paid very, very well. You can't tell me that someone, even in the math department, who kind of likes football, hasn't ran the numbers and went, man, what's the chance that all these 4-star wide receivers we've been getting, they all either get injured or they can't catch anymore over the past few years, since Jeff Scott left. I mean, I'm being critical of them. I admit it, because it's just worth asking. It's worth asking. Some nerd in the math department could probably do what are those things called, a scatter plot or whatever it is. And I mean, the law of numbers would prove what I'm saying to you. But hey, I get it. Tiger Man Wide Receiver University stopped several years ago, and the sad thing it is, about the same time, Jeff Scott wasn't here anymore. More comments. I'm moving on. Let's see. All right, so people's talking trash to Angie. Angie's loving it. Halo. Do we have a field goal kicker this year? We have 2 on scholarship, last I heard. But I'm not going to say whether they can make field goals or not. I'm hoping White's has another year of eligibility we can find out. But I would like for us to at least give him the heads up before the season starts. Who knows? So let's talk about this a little more. Jeff Scott, he's not coming back to Clemson. I don't think ever. And if he does, it'll be in some capacity to where it's almost like a 9 to 5. And I want to say he has young children. I don't blame the guy for not wanting to be gone all the time. That's one of the things. That's the reason yesterday morning I literally got up at 5:45. I was sitting at GSP, flew my country rear end down to Dallas, met with a client, left that meeting, only thing I carried with me, I was in my dress clothes, had my work laptop in a backpack and a few things, and I literally took my country tail back to DFW, sat there, flew back in last night, and I was back here sitting in my underwear at about 10:30. Was it a hectic day? Yes. Was it worth it? Absolutely. I got to see my family last night, and that's who I am. That's one of the things I'll tell you straight up. I love to be with my family. I love to be with my wife. I love to be with my boys. In fact, as soon as I'm getting done with this, you know what I want to do? I'm going to go downstairs, play with my 8-year-old. My almost 18-year-old had to work today. I'm going to talk to him about his day. You know, I love spending time with my family. My wife, she's got something she has to do tonight. We'll end up hanging out. I love being with my family. I don't blame Jeff Scott for not wanting to be gone recruiting all the time. The only sad, crappy thing about it is that Clemson, I still believe that if he was in a really good influential position on the offense, I think we would see change quicker. Now, you're like, define that. What do you mean by that? I'm happy to. What I mean by that is that you have Matt Luke in the offense, right? You have Matt Luke in the offense now. Remember, it's going to take time for him to retrain the minds and the reaction time of the offensive linemen. A lot of people believes, and I've had to tell you this. Some of you still haven't heard this. Some of you think that our problem is that we don't recruit good linemen at Clemson. Almost the entire line is at least a 4-star player. We have one 5-star who was tied for the highest ranked player that we recruited in that incredible 2021 cycle. That's Tristan Lee. You would never know that we have the talent. Well, let's cause injury here and there. Again, injury pops back up. We need to address that. And then next, it just wasn't that. They were struggling before, folks. So between injury and then just not gelling, for whatever the reason, that has to be addressed. You just can't keep going, oh, the injury bug keeps getting us. Is there a nutrition issue? Have we changed the diets? Or is there something new that we've been doing? I don't know. And I don't want to point fingers at anyone. It's just when you're paying a coach $11 million a year, $211,000 per week, and you have guys who's being paid ungodly money around him, which is totally fine, they have the resources and the reasoning and the financial motivation to figure out why is half the team in wheelchairs and just the vast majority of it happens to be on the offense? But when you have Matt Luke in there, he's an expert. Georgia fans who hates Clemson would tell you, oh, yeah, we think y'all are Matt Luke, he is fantastic, man. He is the man. Yeah, we know. Well, I'm glad. That's one of the reasons I'm glad you got him. But the more experts that you have, the more as a unit you can turn things around. I believe that Jeff Scott would have Dabo's ear more than anybody on that offense. I believe that. Could I be wrong? Am I there every day? No, I'm not there every day. And I could be wrong. But I believe he would listen to Jeff Scott. I really do. I think he would listen to Jeff Scott. And having more experts at each position turns the ship around, because here's the thing right now we're operating off of for this Georgia game. And I know Angie's going to have a field day with this one. SEC Dog is going to have a field day with this one. Is it out of the realm of possibility that is it like impossible? Like if Brevard College came out from beautiful Brevard, North Carolina, and played Clemson. Clemson's going to trash them every time. It's not like that with Clemson versus Georgia, though I have said I believe Georgia is going to beat them. This is not like Clemson is the worst team in the SEC. But what I'm trying to convey to everyone, is it possible that Clemson could pull the upset? If they hit on everything, yes, but did you hear those words? Upset. I'm running into Clemson fans who are telling me, well, you just got to have some hope. Folks, do you remember that when Clemson played not too long ago, you didn't have to have hope? That is what I'm trying to point out to everybody, and they're pissed off at me. You've declined to where now you have to hope to win a game against an incredible team. And when Jeff Scott was there, you didn't have to hope. You could almost guarantee it, no matter who you played. There was really good teams. Clemson, during that run, it was a who's who that Clemson beat during that time. Ohio State, got them. The very game that a lot of people credits with not the very game, but one of the very games going all the way back to Taj Boyd and Nuke Hopkins was beating LSU. You remember that? I remember that. Beating Oklahoma. Trashing Notre Dame. The year that Clemson was 25th was the year that Clemson, when I think they were 14-0 or something like that. No, it was 2015. I can't remember. It was 2015, went to that national championship. First time since 81, we lost by 5 points to Alabama. Deshaun Watson put on a clinic. That year, Clemson had like the third toughest schedule in the country. Beat Lamar Jackson in the Valley. Beat Notre Dame when they were pretty doggone good in the Valley. Folks, the reason I'm bringing this up is Clemson was beating incredible teams, and that's how they got the reputation of, they're not Clemsoning anymore. In fact, you better fear them. Now we're at a place of we're hoping. When Jeff Scott was there, we were not hoping. It was almost guaranteeing. Almost guaranteeing. Angie, love the channel, Brian. Huge fan of college football, period. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're in here. I haven't seen the other comments. I'm going down here. Cortez Brown. I like the name. It reminds me of that offensive lineman at Southern Cal for some reason. Cortez Brown, you just became a member. Listen, folks, Cortez just joined the channel. Not only did he join the channel, he became a member. That's $3 or $5 per month. I just created 2 tiers. You know your finances. If you want to do it, I appreciate it, Cortez. You take care of yourself. I'm good to see you, my friend. It's good to see you. Thank you for supporting the channel. Remember, I'm just some guy in his bonus room. I'm not an insider. I'm not a journalist. I don't think everything that I say is right, but I genuinely am passionate about my team. And I'm glad that you're here. A bunch of people in here. Jay, where is Riley going? That's a good question. That's a good question. John Thomas. Oh, John Thomas. It is good to see you, John Thomas. It's been a while. Thank you for supporting the channel. See that? There's that symbol again, supporting the channel. Thank you, John Thomas. You're awesome. Nathan, I won't even take a shot at your last name, Nathan. Who's going to save the lack of a kicking game? I mean, I'm telling you, it bothered me. It bothered me when the other day I read it was that generic, it's a good competition between the two of them, and then someone told me that they were having a difficult, the kickers are having a difficult time hitting outside of 40 yards. I don't know if that's true, folks. Did you hear me? For any of you who's going, that's crazy and stupid. I just told you I didn't know if that's true or not. What I did tell you is, when Potter was here, you want to talk about spoiled? We were spoiled. Potter could kick the football from Easley to Clemson and put it on spot. You could say, hey, listen, you're going to kick off from where Joe's Hot Dogs is at in downtown, over there near the railroad tracks. And we need the football to land at TD's. Okay? TD's right there across from, we don't need it to land on the side of Tillman Hall, out on the front line. We don't need it over there where over there on the other side. No, we need this ball to land at TD's. And he did it. He flipping did it. And now we're where did I have a stroke? Where we are at. Lord help me. I need to go spend time with my family. And I think that's exactly what I am going to do. Folks, it's good to see y'all. See a bunch of people in here talking about where Riley's going. I'll throw this out there and I'm going to shut up because this video's went much longer than what I wanted to. But you know me, there's 64 of you in there. I hope you'll subscribe. I'm almost at 4,000 subscribers. And listen, on the day Georgia and Clemson play, listen to me. That's my 2-year anniversary of this show. So anyway, I hope you'll subscribe. I'm not too far from 4,000 subscribers. I hope you'll do that. I know for these other shows, they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and blah, blah, blah. Great for them. Literally, seriously, like that's awesome for them. I'm not that show. At least not now or maybe never. I'm having a field day with y'all, and I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't already. Y'all take care of yourself. You be good. I'll see you later. And as always, go Tigers.